He's a confused man. He can't put two sentences together.
I've been able to do with the with the COVID, excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
He doesn't have a clue. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know he's alive.
Biden's answers were, in a lot of cases, not coherent, deeply problematic.
That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. He didn't do well at all.
Listen, if anybody in America thinks that was even close to being an okay debate by Joe Biden, I'm living in a parallel universe.
SOS, Mayday. Somebody calling the ambulance for this guy because Joe Biden just got smoked, got cooked, destroyed, obliterated, eviscerated. Anything you could think of to describe just a horrific beating, okay? Because Donald Trump destroyed Joe Biden and he allowed Joe to destroy himself. Whoever the heck thought this was a good idea, please slap yourself twice.
Slap yourself. Fool, slap yourself 3 times. Oh.
Because this man, Joe Biden, got on the stage and looked like a complete clown, okay? Like, for anybody trying to say that Donald Trump did fine. Like, this is Donald Trump's election to lose at this point. Okay, he would totally have to drop the ball, which he won't, in order to lose this election. Joe Biden literally got up there and could barely speak. And the meltdowns from CNN are hilarious because they know that it's over for him. Even fake news CNN is finally admitting the truth. This actually was no different from anything else that we've seen Joe Biden do when he gets up and starts talking at any other event. You can barely understand what the heck he's saying. He's slurring his words, and here the only difference is that they know they can't deny it and call it a cheap fake and all this. It's a cheap fake. It's edited. It's a cheap fake. They can't do it anymore, guys. They can't hide it anymore. They can't hide it anymore. It is glorious to see this miserable failure and this meltdown. Take a look.
As Biden's answers were, in a lot of cases, not coherent, deeply problematic, that he was not able to take pretty straightforward answers and answer them to the American public. There's a real concern here tonight that there's been some real damage done that cannot be undone. They are now seeing a president who is in the White House, who they do not necessarily believe can do this for another 4 years.
How his voice sounded, he seemed a little disoriented. He did get stronger as the debate went on, but by that time, I think the panic had set in. There were going to be discussion about whether he should continue.
Listen, if anybody in America thinks that was even close to being an okay debate by Joe Biden, I'm living in a parallel universe. That was an unmitigated disaster for President Biden from the second he walked out. I've heard from leading Democrats across the United States, elected governors, congressmen, who are texting me and saying, I'm worried I'm going to lose if Joe Biden's at the top of the ticket. The biggest issue for Democrats is abortion, and he couldn't give an answer. Bob Casey, I promise you tonight, in the state of Pennsylvania, is thrown up in his mouth because he knows that if he's got to stand next to Joe Biden, he's going down in Pennsylvania. If he's on the ticket, I don't know how it's going to work.
Look, there is no two ways about it. That was not a good debate for Joe Biden.
That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. He didn't do well at all. He had a test to meet tonight to restore confidence of the country and of the base, and he failed to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now. But that was not what we needed from Joe Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain for what we saw tonight.
We should pray for the president. I think his advisors, I think the White House, and I think his family have a lot of explaining to do to their party and to the American people. We have been told for weeks by Democrats who say, oh, in private meetings, I've seen Joe Biden do cartwheels and handstands while doing trigonometry while solving all the nation's problems. We now know that every single person who said that has been lying to the American people.
Boy, my whole spirit was dancing watching this, watching freaking Donald Trump just freaking smoke this man who literally cannot think once he's challenged. Like, dude got caught up and twisted up and stumbling over his own words multiple times, at times not even completing his sentences.
A record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch, overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
We, in fact, we were the only ones. This guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. The idea that they're going to, I've been proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%. So no one I would not raise it.
The question came up on Joe Biden's age and Donald Trump's age, and Donald Trump made Joe Biden look stupid here about this cognitive test that Donald Trump took. He took a test and he said he did well. Joe Biden, you think that Joe Biden would dare to take a cognitive test at this point?
What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced him. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they've never seen anybody ace him.
And then to make matters worse, at certain points in this debate, Donald Trump did what Donald Trump always does, and he trolled Joe Biden ruthlessly.
But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health.
He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers.
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. And think of this. Who would say, I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up. Think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now. This man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything.
Boy, I'm telling you, I was laughing my freaking you-know-what off, man. This was freaking hilarious, yet sad at the same time. Whoever the hell put Biden on the stage should be ashamed of yourself. This was a horrible campaign strategy, by the way. If somebody thought it was a good idea, you really need to be fired. Whoever's been strategizing for Joe Biden to begin with is doing horrifically. There's things that you could do. I don't want to mention all the different things. I don't want to get these weirdos any ideas because in their desperation, they might actually try some of it. But whatever the hell they're doing is clearly not working. They should have kept Joe Biden away from any stage. They should have just made up reasons not to have him come on stage because this was a showing that was poor. really what enabled Joe Biden to win last time is he wasn't really out and about. And even then he could have spoke better during 2020. They did debates. He did okay during the debates previously. But now, fam, it's like this dude is a walking cadaver. He's like a freaking walking fossil. This dude is barely alive.
Plenty of discussion online about this footage of the First Lady, Jill Biden, helping her 81-year-old husband off stage. You can see pretty small steps there, but having to be helped off. He clearly needed assistance to descend those steps to greet the two CNN moderators.
This dude want to stay alive so bad. I never seen nobody just hanging on by a thread talking about, hey, I'm running for president. It's like you can't barely understand what the hell he's even talking about in the debates. Even the Democrats are saying that they think that this was so bad that at the convention where they officially nominate Joe Biden, that he actually might be replaced.
We're still far from our convention, and there is time for this party to figure out a different way forward if he will allow us to do that.
I think Joe Biden lost in the first 3 minutes. I think a lot of voters probably tuned out, and millions of people are having conversations with their families, with their friends, of if the president is up to the task and if he should step aside.
They leave this debate panicked.
John, if you love the guy, how could you put him out there?
That's
like that? If you love him, if you love Joe Biden, if that was my father, you don't put a guy in that situation.
This isn't the 60s, okay? Voters choose the nominee. He is the nominee. Only he can decide whether he's going to continue. This is a guy with a lot of pride and who believes in himself. And the idea that he's going to say, you know what, I had a bad debate, I think I'm going to walk away from this, I find it hard to believe. I think what it says to a lot of people, a lot of active Democrats is, man, we can beat this guy, but I don't know if we can beat him with the president.
Before this debate, I said I thought this candidacy was teetering. And everybody jumped on me.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Every single person out here. And I just, the candidacy has fallen, okay? Man, I know you're speaking from your heart. I'm worried about the president. Everything we've been told about his mental acuity by these Democrats has been a lie, and everything we think we knew has been confirmed. I got a text from a friend. She's not terribly political. She said to me, I will never forgive the Democratic Party. If the Democrats truly believe that he is an existential threat to democracy, and that's not just some talking point, they will wake up in the morning and they will do something else because this is not sustainable. At the end of the night, very few things about the policy exchanges is going to be remembered. They're going to remember him shuffling out. They're going to remember him staring blankly into the camera. They're going to remember him looking down, losing his train of thought. And they're going to remember that everything I thought I knew, but the White House told me don't believe my own eyes, is actually true.
Even though that was horrific for the Democrats, it was horrific for Joe Biden, it really damages the reputation of all these people who have been consistently supporting Joe Biden, including these clowns on CNN. And this fool, Alyssa Farah, like who thought it was a good idea? I actually saw her today, but who thought it was, I saw her in person, but who thought it was a good idea to pretend as though Joe Biden was sharp, he was cognitive, and it was Trump who was the one who was incoherent? Who thought that this was a good strategy? Who? Somebody lied. All of these people lied. All of them had their credibility damaged, not damaged, destroyed, just as bad as Joe Biden got destroyed in this debate. Regardless of that, I actually do not believe that even with this horrific showing, that is really gonna move the needle that much. Like, for crying out loud, there's been so many clips of Joe Biden like falling over and stumbling over his words, and there's so many people like making fun of Joe Biden. I do think that for those who weren't paying attention, this might further solidify their decision to not support Biden, but I really don't think it's going to move the needle that much. I already thought that this was Trump's election to lose, right? So basically he's going to win unless he massively screws something up, which at this point I would argue is almost impossible to do because Sleepy Joe is screwing up so freaking much, including coming on these debates and making himself look like a fool. Trump didn't really make Biden look foolish. Biden made himself look foolish by not being able to even speak and answer through the questions in this very highly favored debate rules that was favored into Joe Biden's favor. It was against Trump's favor. No audience, muted mics. Okay, like these are things that Trump has previously liked to interrupt, get crowd cheers with one-liners and whatnot. Trump didn't have any of that, so you can't say that things were stacked against Joe Biden's favor. This was for Joe Biden. They made this debate so that Joe Biden could win, and he still got his ass kicked.
He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. The damage he's done to our country. And I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
But at the end of the day, guys, I just don't see them picking anybody else. Like, Joe Biden won the primary. Donald Trump won the primary. That's who we're going to get. As things stand, we so close to a Kamala Harris presidency, I can almost taste it. Even within these few months, and that's not something that I want, trust me. I'm like, I kind of hoping Joe Biden holds on. Just hold on until November, okay? We don't want Kamala to step foot in office even for a few days. Guys, this was comically horrible. Comically horrible. The Democrats are just going to do whatever it takes to try to cheat their way into the White House with Joe Biden. I'm telling you, they're not going to replace him. I know this looks bad, but still, I just don't see them going through and being like, look, we're going to pick somebody else, even though the voters in the primary picked Joe Biden. I just don't see them doing that. The voters had a choice to try to pick Dean Phillips, Marianne Williamson, or even that clown, Cenk Uygur. They didn't. They picked Joe Biden. So this is your bed. Now you clowns got to lie in this mess. This is a bed of filth. It's a bed with pee in it. It's got a big old pee spot. Okay, like this is the bed that the Democrats are lying in, and I hope it's uncomfortable. Okay, because they deserve a massive L. We already got this clown Bowman out of there. Okay, next, Joe Biden needs to be defeated. He defeated himself today, and man, I enjoyed every freaking second of this. I enjoyed every second of this miserable defeat of Joe Biden. And I can't wait to see it reflect in the polls. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
And he just doesn't know what to do. He's a confused man. He can't put two sentences together. He doesn't have a clue. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know he's alive. And he's our president. We have to end it. November 5th, we're going to end it. Thank you very much. God be with you.